let's talk about loneliness and what causes loneliness, how to handle loneliness in a way that's healthy, all of this stuff. And I'm going to explain it in this video. And it's not the cure that you think. So inshallah, I will really dig deeper into what I mean and hopefully guide you to feel more comfortable with the loneliness so that you're not rushing into marriage or rushing into something that you don't want to be in. So I am a relationship coach for Muslims. I help people get married and help them in the process of figuring that out. And so a lot of problems that I see, one of the biggest problems is people say the reason for getting married, for example, is I just want a companion because I'm lonely and I don't like being lonely. Now, that reason isn't a problem necessarily. However, when I look into their lives and understand why they're feeling lonely, it is coming from a void that they haven't filled properly. And so let's just start with understanding what is loneliness exactly. Loneliness comes from a thought of, I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't have anyone. No one wants me, right? Those are kind of thoughts that cause loneliness. And every thought you have creates how you feel. And as soon as you have thoughts like that, like I don't have anyone to talk to, no one wants to talk to me, or some version of that for you, it could be different for everyone. Once those thoughts show up, you're going to feel lonely and you're going to try to fix it with external things. That external thing could be, right, overworking, um, or getting married. Like, I just need to get married so I can get rid of this loneliness. And so what happens is, and there's a lot of stories of this, of people who do get married. It's cute for a year or two, right? They're fine for a year or two, then the honeymoon thing wears off. Then they're back to feeling lonely, even worse than when they were single, because they realize, oh, like I thought this thing would fix it, and it doesn't. Because the cure to loneliness is not another human being, because it's all in it's that feeling of loneliness is coming from you feeling like I have no one to talk to. And let me expand more on that, right? The reason why sometimes people feel lonely even after they're married is because they haven't developed the skills to learn how to connect with themselves and connect with what they need. And so the other person is not going to know how to satisfy that need necessarily, exactly the way that you want it. And so that loneliness comes back and you feel like you're not understood. Um, you don't feel like you can open up as much because you haven't developed this connection with yourself and your emotions and your thoughts of like, wait, I do understand me. I understand what I'm going through. I understand why I'm feeling this way. And it's okay if my spouse doesn't get it and you still feel connected, even though your spouse isn't doing anything. So I got sidetracked a bit, but like my point here is let's just make this very clear. Getting married will not solve your loneliness. Matter of fact, it can make it worse because now you have more and a whole nother human being with an ego to work with, and they're gonna say things that trigger you, and you're gonna just not understand how to deal with it. And so the priority here is how can I be okay with my loneliness and understand it from a place of love and compassion so that I don't have to try to get rid of it. And this comes from starting with understanding, why did Allah create us with a human void? Like we just have a void and an emptiness, a loneliness of like, I have no one to talk to. Like you just feel empty, right? And why is that? Why did the creator of all humankind and everything in this world and above create this feeling of loneliness? And Allah is very intentional with what he creates. So there's a very good reason for the loneliness. And the loneliness, when you really feel it, for me, sometimes loneliness feels like a little empty thing here in the middle of my chest. Why are we so afraid of it? Why are we so afraid of feeling empty? And why are we so afraid of feeling like we don't have anyone to talk to? Now the answer could be, well, no, you're not supposed to be lonely. You're supposed to be happy and all the, but the problem is like that's the societal programming of like we're supposed to always be happy and always be filled. The thing is, there's two things we can do with this loneliness, right? We can fill it with something of this dunya, or we can fill it with Allah. And this is our test. And this is our test to see how do we actually fill it. And now let me talk practical in a practical way. What does it mean to actually feel it? Okay. So if loneliness, I'm going to break it down very simply. If loneliness is simply coming from the thought, I have no one to talk to, why is that a problem? Okay. I have no one to talk to just means we have to create what is the need that you're looking for so that you don't feel that loneliness. So if you knew 100% of the time that Allah has your back and He is looking after you every second of the day and He is guiding you with every breath you're taking, and you always have someone to talk to and complain to, then you won't feel as lonely as you think you will. But here's the thing. People have such a lot of like trauma of really understanding the Allah, really understanding Allah in the way that where He is loving and uh He can feel your loneliness. But the thing is we feel so disconnected from ourselves because we're telling ourselves all these really gross thoughts about ourselves that make us feel shame, where that blocks the connection that we need to connect to Allah. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Or any version of a negative thought that's constantly on repeat and you're driven from those thoughts, you are going to feel lonely because loneliness feels like you're constantly kind of like beating yourself up. Of course, there's no connection. There's no connection to yourself because you're just like you're gonna dissociate. And your brain, every time you feel this negative feeling, you're not gonna feel like happy and joyous. However, when you learn to see yourself as a creation of Allah and like you do matter and you do have things to offer to this world because Allah puts you intentionally in this world for a very, very specific reason. And even if you don't know that reason, you do matter. You are valuable and you matter. And so when you really internalize that, and I'm not talking about like once in a lifetime, once in a while, like get inspired by this, but really internalize it and make it the main belief that you believe about yourself, that is when you start feeling connected to yourself. Like, wow, like I'm actually a soul that matters. And now you start having like you have someone to talk to, and that someone is you because you're now you're not like beating yourself up all day, so you don't feel as lonely. And now you're also opening up this connection of like not you're not spending so much time beating yourself up, that you do actually connect to the creator in a way that's loving and compassionate, and you have the clarity now to see that you're never alone, that you are never alone. But sometimes we cannot see that you're not alone because you're so busy caught up in your thoughts of why you are alone. And so it's hard to access that. Now, to simply answer how do we fill the loneliness, first of all, is number one is let's not panic when the loneliness does come up. It's a gift. It's a gift from Allah. Every time we feel lonely, it's a call from Allah to guide us back to Him. Ya Allah, like I feel lonely. I feel like I don't have anyone. I feel like I just want to talk to you and I just feel disconnected because I feel like I'm not a good enough Muslim, and I feel like, I just feel like I just don't know what else to do. That loneliness is such a gift. It's a beautiful thing to have. There is no human on earth, no man, no woman that can ever fill that void in your heart. Even though society has romanticized marriage to the point where people feel like that's the missing piece that will fill and complete you, but it's not true. And so you have to start with, and this is your assignment, right? Start with understanding, what are you telling yourself that feels like crap every day? When you are developing a relationship with yourself, that starts with stop beating yourself up over the things that you go through in life, right? Whatever it is. And I promise you, I swear to you, when you stop telling yourself all these really crappy thoughts about yourself, you finally have the capacity to see yourself as a good, like a human being, valuable human being, and you start connecting with Allah on a very different spectrum, like on a very different level. So I'm giving you a very practical way to go about this, right? Write out all your thoughts of why you think you're lonely and why all the things that are wrong with you and all of that, write it out. and you're going to shift that into a thought that feels like 10% not as bad, right? So if your thought is like, I'm lonely because no one wants to talk to me because I'm not good enough, right? Maybe the new thought could be, I'm a human being that Allah has created, and I'm learning to connect to myself again. I'm learning to take back the feeling and the connection that Allah has given me and gifted me, and I'm learning how to be friends with my loneliness so that I don't make it a problem. And all of those thoughts, everything you write out, just shift it into a perspective that feels more neutral, not even positive, more neutral. And I promise you, once you start doing that, you'll start living the values that you want. You'll start, having the energy to actually go out, exercise, move, have new hobbies, and like actually enjoy your life with intention, not just running on autopilot. I'm so lonely. What's wrong with me? I just need a, like, none of that. It's once you shift into being the human being that Allah has created you to be, which is using your time wisely in a way that you feel like excited and lit up by, right? Like you wake up and you're like, all right, I have a whole new day. Allah gave me a whole brand new day. Let me see what I can do. Or I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and then your whole just energy just changes, and that's what gives you the capacity to feel connected and not feel as lonely anymore. And so, yes, that's where I wanted to kind of summarize. Loneliness is not a problem; it's a gift, and when you understand loneliness is not a problem, you start using it in a way that benefits yourself and other people around you. And I'll tell you this, right? As soon as you befriend your loneliness and you're not afraid of it, that becomes so much easier to actually attract a healthy husband or a healthy wife. I'm telling you, that's the secret. Just don't be afraid of the loneliness, because loneliness, when you're acting from loneliness, people can tell. They can tell from your energy, and it's a repelling thing, and no one wants to be around that. In a way that's, you know, people can act desperate from the place of loneliness. So that's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so I hope this helps. I also, just to let you all know, I have a group coaching program coming up in October that will really help you with all of this. So if you're interested in kind of joining us in the group, I'll be talking about this stuff, but also more of the tools that you need to learn how to get a spouse in a way that feels like at ease and you feel more confident going about it. So that is in the link in my description to sign up there to my website. And I also do one-on-one coaching, and you can also sign up for that as well. All right, assalamu alaikum.